I hand you over to someone who is slightly more knowledgeable than I am. It's all yours.
No problem at all.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm Shabir. You are?
Shabir James.
James. Nice meeting you, James.
Quick explanation of an agnostic.
Agnostic. Right. Yeah. Not a problem at all. Go ahead, James. What is an agnostic?
So an agnostic to me is someone who doesn't know whether they believe in God or not. The reason I reached this position is I used to be an atheist.
Right.
So I used to believe that God does not exist definitively. To me now, I don't even know if agnostic is the right term, because I don't know if there's a creator, but to me the important question is not whether or not there is a creator anymore. The question to me is why do people believe in God? So some of the people particularly I've met down the path, they've told me that their experience of God has come at a certain point in their life, and from then on out has changed the course of their life, they believe, for the better. So to me it's going sort of to a different level of the experience of God and saying, what is it that the belief in God does to people within their lives?
Right. Okay. And what is that? Is that with a view to coming to a conclusion that there is a creator or there isn't?
I don't know that it's necessarily aimed at that. I think it's just aimed at me trying to ascertain how people overcome the problem of suffering. Because suffering is universal, regardless of your station, life, wealth, material well-being, health, all the rest of it.
Yeah. Just touching on that, James, don't you think that suffering, by definition, is going to apply to limited entities?
Yeah, that's essentially where I was going.
It's part and parcel of the life that it is going to be there.
Yeah.
But why is it such an emphasis to be put on to determine whether there is a creator or not? Because there is an extension to it, isn't there?
Yeah. I think the emphasis on why is there a creator, it's gained a lot of headway in discussions, particularly online recently, in the past maybe 10 years or so. The problem I have so again, it comes back to a sort of a question of how people live their lives. When people who are atheists debate about the issue of God, they're usually trying to criticize the other side as opposed to coming at it from a perspective of, I have an alternative.
Yeah.
So they are just there to criticize, and I'm not necessarily interested. Yeah, I'm not interested anymore in criticizing the decisions that people have made that have got them to life and helped them through suffering, because that's worked for them.
Yeah.
And how can you judge someone for making a decision in their life which they believe has improved their life?
True. But you know, James, the way I've always looked at it, and I'm giving you my view, okay? I, many years ago, came to the conclusion that I have one life, and this life is going to end.
Yeah.
You will hear stories of some companies in America where they charge an X amount to store your body or your head or your brain in a freezer.
Cryogenic,
Cryogenics, with the hope that we will catch up with the necessary knowledge to be able to bring people back to life. And when that happens, they would be the first recipients of whatever it is.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, once you die, you are dead.
Okay.
Unless, because there's a presupposition here, that if there is a creator who created everything and has the ability to create life, then that ability is also there, that when death is decreed, that very creator can have the ability to bring that back to life.
Okay.
It's not unreasonable to even assume that, okay? Because if in the first instance the creator...
You can knock someone's eye out with that hand, mate.
Yeah. Are you lucky I never had the punch ready? Yeah? So it is automatically assumed that if there is a creator who created everything, then that creator can bring somebody back to life without an issue. Now, for me, as a human being, I can go right across the world. I can learn about every potential culture, every potential lifestyle, but ultimately, I can have many companions, many wives, girlfriends, call it what you may, but ultimately, when I die and I go into that ground, I am on my own. Now, one of the things that I know that logic tells me to address is that if there was a dead body here and I am next to it, what's the difference? Because if it is to do with the matter of the beings, we both possess them. If it's to do with the atoms or the molecules or the particles, we both possess them. So what is making me what we would consider to be alive, and what is making them what we would consider to be dead?
Yeah.
What is it? It seems like there seems to be, for me, like I said, there seems to be an external agency that seems to permeate the whole of the body, and when that external agency goes, the body is but matter like everything else.
Yeah, that sounds like the problem of consciousness.
Well, consciousness actually, if you look at the way it's addressed, I respectfully take a different view. You see, the definition of consciousness, no matter what it is going to have to be attuned with the rest of the body and the brain. But the body and the brain are made up of matter.
Right.
Is consciousness made of matter?
I have no idea. I've never explored it, but I would say probably
Right.
not.
Probably not. But now, if it isn't, and it is not associated, then it seems like as though it is external. Do you know, the example I would give is, where's my pen gone? Where's it gone? Someone's stolen it. Somebody brought the thing here, did it? Thank you. I do apologize, James. You see, I've got this, yeah, the pen. I usually use this example to try and understand what we are discussing. I can only feel the pen if I'm external to the pen. Are you following?
Yeah.
If I was the pen, would I be able to feel the pen?
If the pen, no, you wouldn't.
If I pinch myself, how am I doing it? Is it to do only with the senses? Thank you.
Sorry, repeat the question. If you pinch yourself.
If I pinch myself, will I feel it?
Yes.
Is it only the pain receptors that are sending a message to the brain, or is there something else that is telling the brain that is pain?
I would say no, that's sensory input.
It is sensory input, isn't it? But that sensory input is going somewhere.
To the brain.
What is above the brain? Should we call it consciousness?
I don't know if you can say consciousness is above the brain. And to me, consciousness is more of an internal thing. Like, I can't know you, right? Like, I can only know myself.
Correct.
Because my consciousness, like, I can feel the air when it makes contact with my body, because my consciousness is within my body. Okay,
Yeah.
It's confined by my body,
Yes,
right? So I can't ever know you. I can only ever know myself.
agreed. But the issue is not that. The issue is, if there's a dead body and I'm here, everything between that body and me is the same.
Right.
What is missing?
I would guess consciousness. But
But
that's the properties we understand it. Maybe a different language would have a different understanding.
true. But then perhaps, maybe, if you think about it that way, that it may be to do with language, or perhaps it may have to do with the fact that there is information available, but it is going against the grain of the way we think.
It could be either, yeah.
It could be, couldn't it? Yeah? So, for example, if we were to take this from what the word scientific is used. I mean, when I'm usually having conversations, I do tell people that the word science merely means knowledge.
Yeah.
The only problem is that in the past 30, 40, 50 odd years, it has taken on a life of its own. In other words, unless it fits within what we call science, it is dispensed with as an idea.
I think it's more than
Yeah.
the last 50 or 60
Well,
years. I
I'm
think the
just giving
scientific
it. Yeah,
method has
it's
been
quite a...
reaching further back.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Like I said, if we were to do, but the emphasis now is this, that if I were to present a paper and it is not scientific, it would be rejected.
Right.
If I were to present a paper and it fits within the bounds of what we call science or the scientific method, it will be accepted.
That's based
Now-
on the idea that you build upon knowledge which has already been attained, right?
True.
So it's through, if you have a paper, the way it is either accepted or not accepted and published or not published
Yes.
is by peer review.
True.
So whatever field of science you're exploring,
True.
you have to have some level of approval
Yes.
by your peers within science. And you have to be building on something that they've already
Agreed.
studied.
Absolutely. But that is based on the premise that that first instance, it ought to have been accepted as a scientific approach. So if I were to say, okay, you know what, the idea of a soul is scientific, what would the response be?
Well, nobody's done any research.
Exactly. And so you can't write a paper to peer review it.
Right.
You can't do that. But the problem is that, look, if a body of knowledge has been excluded by virtue of the fact that it isn't considered to be scientific, then who is losing out?
I think the more important question is how do you test something?
But that is based on the scientific method.
Right.
Now, does it mean that unless and until everything that we know and everything we do not know has to fit within that purview?
Well, there's a reason why you test something, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about the...
Because it's like, if I were to say, try and jump off a building, right? If I know that it's been tested before and that results in death, I might be less inclined to jump off a building.
True.
So if many people have tested it and the majority of people, or well, I imagine, you know, all of them have died, and I know that I don't want to die, I won't jump off a building.
True. But you are actually agreeing with what I just said. The sentiment is that unless it fits within the scientific method, yeah. So for example, when you said, you know, going up that building, yeah, if somebody has already thrown something and found that as soon as it lands, everything gone, you know you wouldn't take that risk.
Right.
You wouldn't. The issue is not that. There's nothing wrong with that, and the reasoning is valid. What I am saying is that if there is a body of knowledge, yeah, as an example, plant-based medicinal healing. It's not scientific, is it?
I don't know enough about
Right,
plant-based
okay,
medicine.
not to worry, not to worry. Yeah, basically you have got holistic practitioners,
Right.
yeah? They are considered to be quacks, yeah? Because this particular kind, not all, some has, yeah, in all fairness, but this particular kind of knowledge is not considered to have gone through the rigorous scientific process.
Okay.
We are losing out on knowledge because we have predetermined whether that knowledge is going to be useful or not.
Right. Well, another example might be within the field of engineering. Like everything that we have in modern engineering
Yeah.
has been rigorously. Like if you build a bridge, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah, yes.
Everything down to like the grains that you put. Sorry, not the grains. What am I trying to say? The composition of the cement to build.
Yeah, and
whole
the columns,
thing, the
etc.
steel,
Yes.
Everything down to you know the wires on the
Yes.
on the railings.
Yeah.
That will all have been rigorously tested. beforehand.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know how to draw this back to plant-based medicine, but I mean, the thing is, you only know once you've tested something.
True.
I mean, if you,
But if you are not going to be given the opportunity to even test it, what do you do?
and so you find another thing to move on to. If you want to
Unfortunately,
make a living in life,
that's a different matter.
Yeah.
You see, this is the problem I'm addressing. Knowledge. Are you familiar with the distinction between hard sciences and soft sciences?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You've got STEM, and then you've got everything else.
Well, the hard sciences are physics, biology, etc. The soft ones are psychology, etc. Yeah, they are considered to be soft. The question I ask, and I often ask, is why the distinction between these knowledge bases? Yeah, knowledge is knowledge, isn't it?
Well, but one is about the. Okay, so hold on, let me think of this.
One
One
is
is
to do
about-
with physical external elements.
One is about the fundamental building blocks of the universe up to, I think it goes up to biology, and then everything beyond that, there are usually too many variables for it to be considered hard science because it's very hard to prove. So something like sociology, you've got 7 billion people across the world. You can't necessarily predict, how those different people are going to interact in a novel environment, and there are endless novel environments.
And
so there are endless amount of variables to test for.
Absolutely.
So finding a control group for each one every time is difficult.
True. Now, it automatically assumes that the hard sciences are above the soft sciences.
Right. But if
And
we
if
take
that be the
plant-based
case,
medicine for an example, right?
I was about to come back.
Medicine is
You're
based.
familiar with homeopathy?
Yeah.
That's-
So, from what I understand, modern medicine is based off of chemistry, right? So, a lot of the medicines we use are, as you say, not plant-based.
Well, quite a few extracts of plants are used in the medicine.
Exactly. Yeah, but some, like I don't know if I'm using. I can't use examples because I don't know, what chemicals come from which plants.
Yeah,
and
I
put into
understand.
pills.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, we just take plant-based versus pill-based.
Yes.
Chances are a pill that's been manufactured, those chemicals have been sort of boiled down and distilled within a lab.
Yes.
Completely abstract from
Yeah.
like salt you can mine out of the ground. That was never part of the plant. If you use salt in a certain pill and that's used to cure a cold, help alleviate the symptoms of cold, you can, that's used to test.
True. Yeah.
But we have so many.
But-
We have so many plants in the world. We don't know what chemicals are necessarily in them. We don't know how those chemicals interact with the biology of people.
Yeah.
So it's a question of chemistry, biochemistry.
Absolutely, but here is the amazing thing, that when we are talking about information that we are discussing here, okay, it is a given that any knowledge that we possess had started its journey thousands of years ago, where every human being, as he developed, as he understood, we came to know about X, Y, and Z. What I am saying is that there's nothing wrong with that, okay? However, the fact that it has now been reduced to a particular set criteria is excluding vital information and knowledge, which, as a matter of course, ought to be included. But because we have got a very narrow view of how knowledge ought to be established.
Why is it narrow?
I'll
I'm not
tell
following why it's narrow.
I'll tell you. If there's X, we are trying to find out about, and we apply the scientific method to it, and it doesn't fall within the purview of the scientific method, what would happen?
How does it? I don't even understand how it would fall outside of the purview
Okay,
of scientific method, because everything can be tested.
Right, okay. How can you test the soul?
What?
The soul, S-O-U-L.
So, I'm no expert on that particular field.
Who?
I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, but here's the problem. If I were to ask you to go and check this out, just like you talked about the soft sciences.
How would you define the
because,
soul exactly?
But here is
to begin with?
here is the issue. Do you know when I said earlier on about consciousness? If it is something that cannot be directly tested, do you dismiss it as knowledge? That's the point I'm making.
Right.
But now, here is the problem. If we know of something, but it cannot be tested, do you dismiss it because it cannot be tested?
I just don't understand how something cannot be tested in the first place. Like, if people in the past have had an idea about a soul, we take that, we just call it a hypothesis, and we test that hypothesis.
Okay.
If it's so, how do I even say this? If it's so abstract or so far away that we can't even say, oh, this is a hypothesis to be explored, because in science, right, you have a hypothesis, but you also have a null hypothesis.
Yes.
So if I were to say trees have an impact on the environment, for instance, the null hypothesis would be trees have zero impact on the environment. And you would test that by testing trees against the environment. If you can't take something that you believe is knowledge and discern even a null hypothesis about it, then as you say, it can't be tested. And to me, I just don't even understand what there is that you can't put in terms of a null hypothesis.
Okay, James. Let's put it this way. Earlier on we talked about consciousness. What is it?
I would describe it as some sort of actualization of matter.
How do we test it?
I think, again, it comes down to only the individual level.
How do we test it?
I'm sorry to sort of
Yeah, sorry.
intrude on your conversation.
Oh.
Can we wrap it up in about 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Because they're ready.
Oh,
for,
right. Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Sorry about
Yeah, we're nearly done anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I
so-
think this basically comes down to the fact that I am bordering on a solipsist. So I don't necessarily...
Yeah, right, okay.
I don't necessarily... Because I can't test if you're conscious. Because there's nothing about you which I consciously perceive outside of the fact that you're in front of me. Like, my sensory experience is that you're here
Yeah.
and that you're conscious. But I can't test that by making you part of my consciousness, if that makes sense. I can't expand
I
my
see what you mean.
consciousness
Yeah.
into you.
But we are communicating on a level where we can both equally understand what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. How
That
do we?
doesn't necessarily presuppose that you are just as conscious.
Absolutely. But that's not the issue. The issue is, can it be tested, whether on an individual basis or a collective basis?
I don't know. Like I say, I'm no expert.
Hey,
This is why I'm an agnostic.
I agree.
If I was religious or an atheist,
Yeah.
I'd be saying something different.
Well, respectfully, my view is that I don't consider myself religious, and I'm very cautious about the word religious.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the way I view this, James, is that there is a lot of information, a lot of knowledge out there,
Yeah.
which is yet to be touched on.
Yeah.
But what we should do is make a decision based on the information that we have.
Okay.
That's what we usually do. But it shouldn't stop us from increasing the knowledge so that we can arrive at a certainty.
Okay. So I think because you're wrapping this up,
Yes.
I'll just leave you. So I don't close myself off
Excellent.
to spiritual teachings, but one of the main ones I follow at the moment are books by a guy called Don Miguel Ruiz.
Okay.
And so I'm testing out what he calls the 4 agreements as a path of my life.
Right.
One of them is never make assumptions. And to me, from my experience of science, that is a pretty strong element of science, that you don't make assumptions. You don't
Yeah.
jump off a building
Yeah.
unless it's been tested before.
Right. Okay.
You don't go
that's
into a
understandable.
situation.
Yeah.
You don't go into a situation assuming one outcome or the other.
Yeah. No. I fully understand what you are saying. Sorry, James. Hey, इसको देने के लिए. Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I totally agree and carry on that path. Can I just ask you, do you have a Quran at home?
Yes. I have a translation by A.J. Argo.
Well,
in my
you are
bookshelf.
getting another one here, a present from me. That's our card. I'm giving you that as a present. Please take
I haven't
it.
got any pockets for it today.
It doesn't
and I
matter.
wouldn't want it to get damaged.
It won't get damaged. You've got a big enough
My
pocket.
translation is much thicker than that, so I think I'll probably get more of the gist. of that.
Have you got one?
Yes.
Right,
A.J.
that's
Argo,
fine.
yeah.
Just hold that, please.
James, don't read it.
Excellent, James. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, a pleasure speaking to you. If anything untoward, please do forgive me. That was not in the intention. Hopefully, we'll meet again some other
Hopefully,
time.
yeah. Take care.
God bless.